We have another guest today. Her name is Haleh, and I'm so excited to introduce you. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her. So, she likes to talk about how your issues are in your tissues. And that is based on learning how to overcome significant illness, domestic violence. And she's never been on any meds. And every time that I have seen her in a group that we participate in, she's always smiling. She's always high energy. So I am so excited to have you on. Oh, I love the hearts. Could you please share your story, a little bit about what you do? And yeah, let's dive in.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with you in this time and space because your energy is phenomenal and you're so extraordinary. So
Oh,
I'm super joyful to start with. Thank you. Okay, where do you want me to start? It's like all of us have so many stories to share,
yes.
but I'll share briefly how I got to our issues are in our tissues, right?
Yes.
I came to America. I was born in Iran, Tehran, and I came to America in third grade. So the revolution happened. We lost everything. Just going to fast forward so I get to our topic quicker, but that's a little background. And I have one older brother who's 5 years older than I, and we're two completely different, and we love each other, but we're just different. I'm just from this other universe. I don't even know where I came from, right? But I always felt out of place. So when the revolution happened, we lost literally everything. And my parents, my mom, her friends were in Beverly Hills. They wanted to live in Beverly Hills. I felt so out of place. I felt like I don't belong. I wanted to go barefoot, rock climbing, get on the rocks, the waterfall, and just flow in nature. But I had to doll up to be this Barbie doll. And if you see me, you won't probably recognize me. I think I recently posted a picture of me, so I had to be dolled up, be this athletic, fit person. So what that happened, it started with me not loving myself. I started hating myself. I was never comfortable in my being and who I was, but I lived it. I lived it joyfully and happy. I got a job in a multi-billion-dollar company as a paralegal, legal secretary, executive assistant. That was not my passion, but I needed to financially survive. I'll leave that on its own subject there. And in my 20s, led me to a domestic violence because, as I said, there's a lot of reason why we end up in that. But I was one of the ones. I don't know how I'm alive. I'm alive to spread the mission, leave a legacy, as all of us are here. We all have different fingerprints. So that being said, I was in it for 4 years. However, I came out of it, I created my king, my rock, my everything. In 2008, we met. 2010, we got married. Going back a little, at age 7, that's when I knew that we can live way beyond that it's given to us. I say 200 plus in optimal health, but that's the universe I'm coming from. But you can be however old you want, but that's my belief because just like AI, it was here way before us. So I always felt, as I said, out of place, don't belong. I thought differently, I did things differently. And on the side, besides the corporate, I was impacting lives in my holistic realm. I was really passionate about holistic. Now, I remember they were doing this, building this home next to us, and they had all these rocks out. I went out there on my own. I mean, it was just next door, but I just escaped out of our home, and I went sat on the rocks, digging and getting fascinated by each rock. So I always felt I'm connected to the earth energies. And that led me to dig and do more research on the holistic on my own. And because of that, I met the greatest minds such as Louise Hay. I got coached by Louise Hay, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Tony Robbins, been to Landmark, you name it, I've done on that realm. But I never practiced it because I was comfortable in the corporate world where I didn't like it. So that is where I say our issues are in our tissues. And that comes around when I was down in 2011. I was in bed for 3 months that I couldn't even go to the restroom. I had to be carried to the restroom because the medical world, with all the respect, told me I have Hashimoto's, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, and they were going to keep labeling me. So all that athletic, being fit and all of that went away to flabby muscles, gaining 20 pounds. I fell into depression and I did live a holistic life, but the subconscious mind is so powerful. It caught up on me. And sometimes with people, it catches you at different times. It could be at an older age, you'll blame it on genetics or old age. For me, it was that time. Even though I lived a holistic life and I was joyful and happy, but on the subconscious mind, at that time, I was working 14 years in the cancer center where I couldn't voice out what I know. And that voice gave me the autoimmune, the throat being shut of Hashimoto's. That was one of the things, but I got out of bed in 3 months, out and about without any meds at 56. And that's in a nutshell.
A lot. There's so much that has happened to you. But I love the whole concept of the issues in your tissues. I was thinking about oh, I can't think of his name right now, and I'm reading his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Um, shoot. I cannot think of it, but he talks about how we can heal. First of all, we can heal our own bodies. But I also believe, as a survivor of narcissistic abuse and trauma, there are still things in my own body that are manifesting because I'm still healing. And the body will tell the story even when our brain refuses to. It'll wake us up a little bit.
Yes, it's so true. Because the stuff, the 3 months, it's like, yeah, they wanted to, oh my God, medicate. And I say, how about communication before the medication? And you name it, I've done, even in the holistic realm. But until your own self, the subconscious mind will lead you elsewhere, but you are the master creator. And that's why, like, one of my books is You Are the Universe, the Master Creator. So we are that powerful. We just have to remember who we are. And we've been programmed and we forget or we don't know and we fear it. And we go into thoughts, but those thoughts are not even ours. If you just own your power, you are extraordinary, you are powerful. And if we all come together collectively to remember that nothing is outside of us. And it was all that releasing all that programming that got me back up. It wasn't the medication. It wasn't all these go vegan, go raw, go vegetarian, try this detox. You name it, I have invested tons and tons. But the main thing is deep inside of us. Are we loving ourselves?
Yeah, it's literally drinking the poison when we don't, and when we become something that we're not. Because I work with a lot of women that are told they're too much. They have basically conformed into what others have said they are, and they've totally gotten out of touch with who they don't even know. Because that was me 2 years ago. I was like, who am I? Of course, I don't value myself. Of course, I don't love myself. I don't even know who I am. And that journey has been amazing. And yes, there's been, ups and downs but I'm so much happier. And yes, I'm not for everyone, and that's okay too. I had to learn to be okay. There's something that one of my guests said on a podcast I just released where she said I had to be willing to be misunderstood. And I love that,
I
that
love
it's
it. Yeah.
okay.
Yes, I do. And one of the other things that Dr. Wayne Dyer told me that's up to now, it's what other people think about me is none of my business. And that has stayed with me because so many times before, because we all want to be loved, accepted, and appreciated, right? But when we give that to ourselves, that's what is needed, not the outside. Because then when you give that to yourself, others will see you that way. But
Mhm.
you got to first embody it and own it. And I still have this, keep it next to me. It's right here because the subject came up. But Louise Hay, the mirror work, You know about that?
Yes,
So,
I do know
so
about
I
that.
so I keep it in says life loves you. Let me say. Look at yourself eye to eye and say I love you every morning and every night before bed. And start with that because we're still living on this universe, this planet, whatever you want to call it, the matrix, simulation, whatever,
Yes.
we can it can change us, it can shift us, and it goes into subconscious that we don't even know. So just practice that before you go to bed. Make it your last thing. When you get up, make it the first thing. It no matter if we know it, a lot of us know it, but practicing it, embodying it. So
Hmm.
that's one other thing that up to now, as you see, it's like right next to me. I had a couple of things on that mirror, but it's all here.
And what I found too is, what I when I tried that, it for me it didn't work, but that was because I wasn't investing in myself. And so when I started to do that, then that belief really did come into play for me, and it was a big game changer for me. And and when you're right, what you said earlier about people, other people will see that in you because I was getting involved in friendships, family relationships, romantic relationships that weren't serving me because I was bringing in people, I was accepting people into my life at my belief level. I don't deserve love. I don't deserve this. So I'll let this man come into my life who's going to abuse me. And now that I know what I want and I know what I deserve, people
That's
basically,
good.
it's kind of like an application process, right? You have to be here where I'm at,
Oh
or
my
you don't
God.
get access.
Yes, it's so true because you said about relationship, and that takes me back in my 20s when I went through that domestic violence was because it's us not loving ourselves and allowing that to happen to us. And because at a young age, my dad was a lot of love, but he gave constantly money.
Hmm.
Uh, he was a provider, and because of that, he was never home as much because he worked with the Shaw back then, and he wasn't there. So, with that lack of a men relationship, so I would
Hmm.
choose the wrong men,
Hmm.
and then I would go after all these hot-looking ones to be loved, accepted, and you feel good. You're being loved by these people. It's all like the programming we give ourselves, and we lead ourselves towards that direction.
Hmm. Yeah, and the thing, the danger of that is too, is that if we're waiting for others to validate us, they could take that away.
Mm.
Whereas if we have that within ourselves, you're probably familiar with Viktor Frankl, and he talks about, that we have to have that internally, that no one can take that away from us. And then we won't even be interested in, and we may find there's not saying there isn't a hot guy out there that's going to, value us,
Right,
right?
right. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
yeah.
bonus,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So you can get what you want. You can get that
Right.
hot looking. You can get
Yes.
it, but are you getting it to be approved or you're getting it because you're already in that embodiness that you are that perfect being, they said there's not
Hmm.
such a perfect being, but you are who you want to be. Yeah.
Yes.
And then you attract what you want.
Mhm. Yeah, that is so true. You definitely do. I'm waiting for that. I'm working on it, but I'm getting better every day. And see, that's the thing too, is this that waiting for it, I think, really honoring it. You talked about a little bit about your journey when you talked about that domestic violence. Do you want to go into that a little bit more? Like what was kind of like that hell no moment for you? Like I'm really done.
Yeah, I was in it for 4 years. It was my early 20s. We want to leave a legacy. We're here for a purpose, and that's why we're still here experiencing on this planet. Is the way I look at it. So during that time, when I was going through it, I was shocked because I didn't know such a thing even existed. I thought it was in movies because I was brought up, there was a lot of love, and it was like a movie for me. I
Hmm.
was in a shock phase. But then being in that, because as bad as the bad was, as good the good was too.
Hmm.
And it was just the back and forth. And I'm like, oh, everything's getting fixed. But no, next moment, boom. So I was in that circle. And it took me 4 years. In the I would go, I remember I would go get scans by myself when I was really hurt. I don't want to get to this to the scenery part of it, but it was bad. And as I
Hmm.
said, there's a reason I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I used to go in a locked closet, hide my papers and journal. And I would talk to, I loved writing, so I always wrote. And there's a different chemistry when a pen is in your hand and the brain to the pen and to the heart flowing. So it was like me talking to my higher self, to the light inside of us, and to God or whatever that is for anyone, and asking and pouring out my heart in tears and just like really being present. And he wasn't around. I would even lock myself in the closet
Hmm.
and make sure the papers are hidden because I was so afraid at that time. And it didn't matter who's talking to me or telling me from the outside, I wouldn't listen.
Hmm.
Nothing mattered except that paper and pen and me until one time. It was like 4 years for me. It could be next hour for someone. It could be, it's different for each individual, but that was my time. I walked out empty. I didn't look back. I didn't take anything. Literally empty. I was ready to let go. I didn't know where I'm going, what's going to happen. I didn't want people to tell me, I told you so. You would think at that time, the shame, so many of us are ashamed. Where do we go? How do we survive? There's so many thoughts that go, oh, but at that moment, I get chills. The light of God within me was so powerful and so lit that everything else was just shut. I had embodied that, what I was writing, and I moved forward. And when I moved forward, answers opened up, doors opened up.
You hit on two really important things there. First of all, the power of journaling. I did when I was getting a divorce with my abusive ex-husband. I did basically a brain dump every morning. I'd get up early and just write for like half hour, 45 minutes, whatever came to me. But you also touched on the future self. And it's interesting because I typically read multiple books at once, and I'm also reading Become Your Future Self Now. And just yesterday, he was talking about envision your future self actually as a separate person, just like what you've done, and connect with that other person, and you will eventually become that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, now I'm just getting chills.
I love deep conversations. Oh my God. See, it's
Yeah.
not no accident we're here. Wow. Yeah, that's deep. God. I felt it go down. Okay.
Yeah. Same. I did too.
It's a good feeling. It's like you get the chills, but it's like that. It's hugging you in a way, and it's comforting you. Like we're getting connected collectively and impacting collectively. Because I always, I trusted, but I also would go into that thought, and it's like because my when my book came, "You Are the Universe, the Master Creator," it was downloaded from my dad when he crossed over on Mother's Day of May 2020. And it in his my dreams, and he would message me, "You need to get that in the hand of billions people." I'm like, billions? Are you kidding me? But so I think the whole message is to come together collectively.
Hmm.
As when we come collectively together, humanity rises, and
Yes.
there's not all of this negative stuff that's going on because it's not. The people, we're all loving. We just have to remember who we are.
Hmm.
It's just programmed in us, and we need to remove that layer and collectively rise together.
Yeah, I'm right there with you that we're all just human beings, and regardless of where you are in anything, that we all have a commonality in that just we are human. And everyone wants to be treated kindly and loved. And, one of the things that came to mind is when I also lost touch with who I was, particularly as a younger adult, I became what I hated. I hated my father, and then I ended up becoming just like him. And my first husband was very controlling and very ugly and not happy at all because all that anger was like just always right there on the surface.
It's when you go through the stuff, it's like you can literally feel it because
Hmm.
we know we've been through it.
Hmm.
And for people to really get it, that's why when someone is in that domestic violence, it's like you can tell them 100 things and care for them, love them. But when someone has gone through it, it's a different feeling because you really, oh my God, I get chills when I say it, because you really feel it and come
Hmm.
from that space and be there for them with that space, knowing,
Hmm.
not making them wrong. Oh, you're so weak you can't get out,
Right.
it's putting the blame back on them or giving them books to read and all that is good, but let them awaken themselves, not by force. Let them read it, let them
Hmm.
embody it, let them be the one that chooses, because that's when the deep healing comes.
Yes. How can people find you? I always put it in the show notes. So if someone wants to reach out and work with you or have you talk with them,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Besides being all over social media, I have it on the screen down here. It's healthspan with Haleh.com. So that's the best thing. That's a link that'll get them there. But I'm also on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, and they can find me. And yes, and I'm gonna also it's easy to find because when I'm gonna say it one more time, it's health, like the health, and it's all one word, span, not spam, but with an N as an Nancy, health span. And then it's with Haleh, my first name, like Hallelujah, Haleh, HALEH.com. So it's all one word.
Awesome.
Thank
Haleh,
you.
thank you. Thank you so much. This has been a great conversation.
Oh my God, I loved it. Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me in your time and space.
You're welcome. Thank you.